Attention, because what happened after the US Open semifinal between Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic has given much to talk about. The Mercian won convincingly, in 3 sets, and took another step forward in the changing of the guard in world tennis. But the most talked about thing was not just the level of the match, but what happened right after. The message that Djokovic left Alcaraz at the net was leaked, a gesture that shows respect, but also a reminder of what it means to compete against a legend. The match was a true battle of generations. Djokovic, at 38, was looking to stay at the top and at his 25th Grand Slam, while Alcaraz, barely 22, seemed determined to confirm that the future already belongs to him. The result was conclusive, 6-4, 7-6, 6-2. Youth prevailed over the cunning of experience. However, the most special moment came at the end, when both players met at the net and shared a few words that today resonate beyond tennis. Carlos Alcaraz, smiling, later explained in the press conference that for him beating Djokovic is always special. He recalled that in tennis, as in any sport, on the court there are no friends. There, the mission is clear: to cause as much damage as possible to the rival, wear him down, overcome him point by point, until the scoreboard closes. But at the same time he confessed that Novak Djokovic had a gesture of respect, affection, and complicity at the end. That mixture between fierce rivalry and mutual respect. The crowd witnessed something bigger than just a win. They saw how the change of guard in world tennis consolidated. Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal are already part of history, retired and turned into legends. Djokovic, the last representative of the mythical Big Three, struggles to keep his place, even though the years take their toll. And on the other side, Alcaraz appears as the natural heir, accompanied by Jannik Sinner, both ready to take the torch and build their own era. That crossroads was evident at the Arthur Ashe. But then came the inevitable question: what exactly did Djokovic say to Alcaraz? The Mercian, with mischief, smiled and assured that those words would stay between them. Djokovic is a great person, he always helps the young players, he said. Even so, he made it clear that there was respect, affection, and good words. Although he did not reveal the literal content, his gestures and tone hinted at a message that transcended the defeat. Something that spoke of legacy, of teaching, of the greatness that still lives in Knoll. The rumors quickly spread. Some international media, based on close witnesses, pointed out that Djokovic said something like, "On the court there are no friends, but off it you will always have my respect." A phrase that perfectly sums up the Serbian's philosophy. Compete as if it were the last battle, giving nothing away, no concessions, but at the same time recognizing in the rival the same passion and love for tennis. It is that duality that has made him immortal. Djokovic's gesture is not an isolated fact. Throughout his career, he has always shown respect towards those who challenge him, even when he loses. With Alcaraz, moreover, there is a special relationship. Novak has acknowledged on several occasions that the Mercian is the most talented player he has faced in recent years, someone who reminds him of himself when he began winning tournaments. That is why this message at the net was not a bitter farewell, but a recognition between equals. The moment also reveals how the narrative of tennis has changed in the last decade. It is no longer just about titles, but about generational handover. Djokovic, aware that each tournament could be his last great stage, understands that his role is no longer only to win, but also to mark the path for those coming behind. And Alcaraz, with humility, accepts that respect, knowing he is writing his own story. The scene became a symbol of the past giving way to the future. Experts point out that these gestures have enormous value. They are not simple words, but messages that remain engraved in the memory of the sport. Just like Federer congratulating Nadal, or Nadal recognizing Djokovic, this embrace at the net between Novak and Carlos will become part of the great moments of sportsmanship in tennis history. It is the demonstration that, even in maximum rivalry, there can be friendship, complicity, and mutual admiration that transcends the result. For Alcaraz, the victory not only meant reaching another final, but proving that he is ready to lead the next era. His smile and calmness when speaking about Djokovic reveal surprising maturity. Far from being carried away by euphoria, he recalled that on the court there are no friends. That competitive mentality, combined with his respect towards the Serbian legend, shows that he is ready not only to win titles, but also to become a reference on and off the court. Djokovic, for his part, made it clear that he is not giving up yet. Although the physical wear was evident, he assured that he will continue fighting as long as he can. His message to Alcaraz is also a warning: the Serbian will never go out waving the white flag. He will compete until the last point, because that is what he has always done. And in the meantime, he knows that his legacy is also strengthened through the rivals who surpass him. Tennis does not end with him, but remains alive, thanks to players like Carlos. That contrast between generations is what makes this moment so fascinating. Seeing Djokovic, symbol of the glorious past, against Alcaraz, emblem of the brilliant future, is witnessing history in motion. Every gesture, every word, carries symbolic weight. What was leaked from that message at the net is not just a curious detail, but a reminder that sport, beyond competition, is also about respect, learning, and legacy. Thus, what seemed like a simple exchange of words becomes the essence of tennis. The fight without concessions on the court and the absolute respect off it. Alcaraz and Djokovic showed that, although one wins and the other loses, both magnify the sport. The leaked message is testimony that rivalry does not exclude admiration, and that great champions are not only measured by their titles, but by the mark they leave on their rivals and on the public. Carlos Alcaraz comes out in defense of Donald Trump. The Spanish tennis player defends the president's presence at the US Open final, in which he will face Jannik Sinner. Carlos Alcaraz has once again achieved a huge feat. The Spanish tennis player has managed to reach another Grand Slam final after defeating Novak Djokovic this past Friday. A match in which Carlitos showed his high level against an always dangerous Noel, although Alcaraz not only caught attention for his recital on court. After his great victory, the Mercian attended the press conference and there also captured all the focus by speaking out on the new Donald Trump controversy, since the President of the United States, as confirmed by the White House and the tournament's organization, will be present at the US Open final, which takes place this coming Sunday in New York. Carlos Alcaraz supports Donald Trump at the US Open. The US Open final already has date and time, and also the tennis protagonists who will fight for the title, but the latest bombshell has been the confirmation that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, will be present at the key match of this competition in New York. Trump's presence at the Arthur Ashe puts the president in a difficult spot since it is very likely that the public will receive him with boos due to the continuous controversies. However, Alcaraz comes out in his defense and recognizes that it is very positive for the sport. It is a privilege for tournaments that the president of any country is there to support the tournament and the match, Carlos said, defending Trump's presence at this great event. I will try not to be too attentive to Trump's presence in the stands on Sunday. I will try not to get nervous because he is there, added the Spaniard. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner face off in their biggest battle. Aside from what happens around him, the Mercian will have to concentrate to the maximum in the US Open final, since there is much at stake. Alcaraz will not only fight against Jannik Sinner, the most usual final now on the circuit, for the title in New York, but also for the biggest prize money in history and for being number one in tennis. Currently, it is Sinner who leads the ATP ranking, but if the Spaniard wins this final, he will leapfrog him and snatch the spot. Jannik Sinner won the US Open 2025 semifinal against Felix Auger-Aliassime, suffering more than expected, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. The Italian reaches his fifth consecutive Grand Slam final and the fifth time in a row that he will play for a trophy against Alcaraz. The Spaniard did his job earlier than the Italian and beat Djokovic without dropping a set. This new classic of tennis will have a new episode in a Grand Slam, after Paris and Rome. Everything indicates that Sinner will arrive without medical problems despite feeling discomfort in the abdominal area on his serve when the score was 4-3, finishing with the Canadian's break. So said the number one after the match, I only felt a small contraction after a serve when I did it in the second set at 4-3. After the treatment, I felt much better. At one point I felt nothing at all. I was serving at a normal pace, so everything was fine. Nothing to worry about. But I preferred to leave the court because it's in a different place. So everything is fine. Near the stomach. Those small discomforts will not prevent him from giving his best level. It is nothing serious. I managed to serve stronger after the medical timeout. No excuses, Sunday will be special, another beautiful final, we'll see what happens, Sinner said. Sinner explained what he feels every time he faces Alcaraz. I love putting myself in these situations. He is someone who has always pushed me to the limit, which is great, because that way you get the best feedback you can have as a player. Lately, we have faced each other quite a lot. Whenever we step on the court, we are aware of more things, because both he and I try to prepare the match tactically and in different ways. But sometimes it is also nice not to play against him. It's fine, but as I have always said, it is fantastic for the sport to have rivalries and, hopefully, great matches ahead. And then we'll see. I am a person who loves these challenges. I love putting myself in these situations and seeing how things turn out.